Denmo. This video is reporting back high levels of cocaine. Proceed with caution. Warning.
No,
Rotating
please.
light.
No, please. Gold Ruby, thank you so much for the 8 months. No, not Charlie, no.
Yesterday, iDubbbz posted a YouTube video that's become extremely divisive. I haven't seen people this divided on a singular topic since the red and blue dress debate. The video he posted was basically an apology for the content he made in the past, apologizing for it being hurtful or damaging, and a whole myriad of other things that he wanted to come forward with, and talking about how he's changed as a person and thus his content will be changing. He goes over like insecurities of his past, and overall he just invites the audience into the back of the kitchen to see how the sausage is made and meet the chef. And for a lot of people, they didn't want to meet the chef. He's being very open and honest about his feelings on his older self and now his current mentality, how he feels better and healthier and doesn't like what he did in the past.
All right. Can we discuss something really quickly? Really quickly. Charlie must follow a lot of reactionaries. Exactly. Because I'm going to be honest, my entire Twitter feed, all of it was just saying that, like, he's being based. I didn't see a single person on my feed that said that he was being cringe. Everyone I saw was like, I think it's really impressive that he came out and he said this. I think it's really impressive that he owned up to it. You know, I appreciate that he didn't he didn't claim that, like, you know, he deserves to be forgiven. He didn't even claim that he's finished growing. He's just saying, I feel like I've grown enough to point back and say, like, what the fuck was I doing? And, like, on my empathy scale, I would say I'm at like 25%. Like, I'm not even the best person to ask on half this shit. And that's impressive. Like, to you have to understand, chat, like, as a male content creator on the internet, the biggest crime you can commit is becoming a better person. That's it. That's the biggest crime. Because either they say that you are a grifter or whatever, and you're like, you're just changing for the woke mob or whatever, or they do what they do to Hassan, which is you're just doing this to, like, keep up image, to try and pretend like you're better than you actually are, because you're not. You're a fake socialist. Literally, it's the biggest crime you can commit on the internet. It's the biggest. As a man, yeah. And so for him to do that, I gotta give respect. I gotta give some respect.
And didn't like who he used to be, so it's a whole apology video for all of that. He releases more feelings in this video than Pandora's box, and I kind of want to go over this whole situation because I have a lot of thoughts on the topic, not only as it pertains to iDubbbz in particular, but just in the general creator space. There's a few things that I want to talk about here.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, you know, run my channel and live my life.
I'm sorry to immediately come in here with the Phoenix Wright objection, but I completely disagree with the sentiment that it's weak or passive to change your content and expect people to see that as a reflection of yourself. That's pretty much the optimal way of handling any kind of situation in which you're not comfortable with either your audience.
Oh, dude, this is just like riddled with white privilege. Oh, man. Ah, dude, fuck. Do you guys get what I mean? I think the people in your community, or people that were in your community, or people that saw that weren't in your community, that saw you saying slurs, deserve an apology. Whether or not they accept it is up to them, but I think they deserve an apology. I don't think you get to just be like, well, I'm a better person now, so I'm just gonna make better content. I think coming out publicly and being like, I know I hurt a lot of people, some of which are watching this video right now, and I'm sorry. And I will try to do better. I think if you say that, like, you don't need to change, you don't need to, like, make a video apologizing. You can just change your content and become a better person, whatever that means. Okay, what about the part where you make amends to all the people that, like, you've hurt that are expected to just be okay with you being in these leftist circles. You know? I feel like you can only say that if you were never personally hurt by what someone else said. You know? I don't know.
Into the content you've been making. By changing the content over time, you're changing the audience over time as well, obviously, right? The people that subscribed for your previous catalog of content might not stick around for the stuff you start creating when it goes in a different direction, and that's a totally fine thing. I don't think there's anything weak about just making different content and growing individually without having to come forward and share that growth with your audience. At the end of the day, your subscribers aren't your friends. You don't know them and they don't know you. That's the brass tacks of it. Sorry to blast the cold water.
But it's not just about the audiences. Sometimes it's about the content creators. There are a lot of content creators in the space who either went to Creator Clash, wanted to go to Creator Clash, want to participate in these charity events, want to participate in these things, but they feel weird about it. They feel weird about being around this like cis straight white guy who just said slurs and then pretended like it was fine and is now a better person. Like I think it's just a very nice way to talk to those people and to say, hey, I haven't said it yet, but I apologize for having contributed to a more toxic environment during like the Gamergate era. And I obviously I had a lot to do with it as much as anyone else did that made content like mine. I'm sorry for that. That's what you're not apologizing because it's like, I don't know. I think it is a weak move to not apologize. Because it's easy to not apologize. It's easy to just be like, well, I'm a better person now, so what, you expect me to own up to my old mistakes? I'm not going to do that. What? No, man.
In your face first thing in the morning, you don't owe them an explanation for why you're changing your content. You're welcome to tell them. I think that's totally within your right to do. But I really disagree that it's weak if you don't explain why you're changing your content. You can just make different stuff and go in that direction where
it is weak. You're avoiding a hard conversation. You're avoiding a difficult conversation and a difficult like apology. And I think it is the weak thing to do to not address that.
Happier without ever really needing to come forward and like really lecture on why.
I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very, not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
It sucks to hear that this is how he thinks about his old content and his old self. It's always a very difficult realization when you look back on, you know, the you of a few years ago disappointed. Like, I used to be 5'6", and I still am, but it sucks to realize that I was then too, and have been for a long time. Point is, he wasn't happy with the content he made or the person he was, and now he's trying to apologize for the videos he made. And I, once again, have to completely disagree with the way he looks at it. I feel like his perspective on it is very warped by the way the internet has evolved over the years. The way he talks about this content makes it sound like he used to fucking murder puppies for these videos, which
dude, this is such a privileged take. It's such a privileged take. I think a lot of people just don't know how bad the internet was if you were like a minority.
warranted. You can explain, like, I just don't like making that content.
Radsack, thank you for the 3 gift stuff and the gift stuff to Evie. Thank you.
Content anymore, so I won't. And be like, hey, I even regret making that content because it's kind of cringe now. That's all fine, but to think that it is this huge, massive problem, like you made an unforgivable mistake, is a little weird to me.
So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused about, you know, where I stand. I have made some cruel.
Really quickly. The reality is that Charlie feels bad because he enjoyed that content, and now that iDubbbz is saying it was bad, Charlie has to grapple with the feelings that he enjoyed the content that iDubbbz recognizes as harmful. Yeah. Canola oil, thank you for the 25 months. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons, and you know, obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end.
You shouldn't have to apologize for criticizing someone or something. Voicing your opinion on a subject is a totally natural thing to do. I get criticized, I criticize others, people criticize movies, games, music, all of that. And to try and vilify the idea of criticism being evil, I think is a little dangerous, because then you just create these echo chambers and no one ever really grows from that. I think it's totally fine if you regret the way you criticize things, the way you approach the subjects. If you regret how you handled it, that's okay. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that you were picking apart people for lackluster things. You seem to really look...
but like there are people that he did pick apart for lackluster things. The reality is that every single commentary channel, even if they initially start out making commentary on like shitty people, I think it's inevitable that they accidentally make content on people who don't deserve that level of harassment. You know? The Keem and Leafy one are hella justified. Yeah, I mean, but those two people are like absolute pieces of garbage, right? So of course it's justified. Yeah, it's like Sunny V2. It's like, dude, like the Sunny V2 video on Fortnite, on like Ninja, that one was just way too far. That was not necessary. That is not necessary at all. You could make a video about Ninja and be like, hey, I think like him publicly telling everyone that he doesn't play with women on his stream was bad. It was really bad.
Queen.
But to get on and then just be like, hey, this guy looks like he does drugs. He doesn't look so good. It's like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? And then just cause a bunch of harassment that is undeserved harassment. So strange. Ninja must have stolen his girl or some shit. I know, right? Hey, Monkey, thank you for the 12 months.
Back negatively on all of the content cops, but whether you like it or not, you did make good points and good arguments against people who did deserve criticism. I feel like the main...
Yeah, but there's a difference between criticism and harassment. And the problem is that like the content cop videos, they attract a certain type of audience that loves to harass. You can criticize someone or something without causing them to like never be able to exist on the internet or grow and change and improve as people. Hey, Monkey, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you. Like, I try to do this. I try pretty hard. I think like people like Hassan also do the same. I try to like, if I criticize someone, unless I'm criticizing like I don't care about politicians, okay? Politicians are public servants. They should deal with people telling them how much they don't like them. But if I criticize a content creator and I think a content creator made like a bad point or something or whatever, I don't want you guys to go and harass them. That doesn't like benefit me in any way. I don't really care. And if anything, it might even like push them to double down or like be like, okay, well, if these people are so crazy that they're harassing me, then like maybe I'm doing something right or something. Like, you don't know. And I don't want to be someone who has an audience that goes around harassing people. I want to make videos and I want to stream and I want to talk about things and say how I feel about something and then have them maybe see that and change their mind. If they don't change their mind, they don't change their mind. Nothing I can do about it. But I don't want to add to the world of like harassment. I think a good example was, do you guys remember like during the streamer awards? Was that 2 months ago? 3 months ago? 2 months ago. Where Cutie Cinderella came out and she talked about everything that had happened with Minx at the streamer award parties and stuff. And she said that she went publicly because she wanted to help her friend. And then she took it back. And she was like, I regret even making this public. This is the same exact thing. It's like you want to call someone out publicly and force them to address what no one else has forced them to address. But it doesn't mean you want thousands of people in their DMs, in their replies, telling them to go kill themselves. You know? Nobody wants that. Nobody. A proper thing to do is constructive
Chat should
criticism.
harass
Yeah.
Denims with donation messages.
Thank you, Ham, for the 5 dono. Thank you. To be clear, I don't really care if people harass people like Matt Walsh. I think people like Matt Walsh are so far gone, I don't give a fuck. And they make so much money on that grift, or maybe not even a grift. And they contribute so much harm, I don't care. If anything, I want them off the internet so bad. I don't care what anyone sends them or tells them or whatever. Like, you don't get to get on, like, what's his name? Michael Knowles. You don't get to get on a podium and say, I want to eradicate transgenderism and think, like, that's acceptable. Like, what? No. They're literally paid to cause harm.
Main point of those videos he used to make is the slurs.
Wait, I don't know. It's just sort of a natural byproduct of criticism. Yeah, but the thing that's important is knowing that some communities are worse than others. Some people criticize other people and their communities don't really go and harass those people. And some people have communities that do. Why is there such a big difference there? Like, there are plenty of people that Hassan has like attacked publicly. Non politicians, non like right-wing pundits or whatever that make money off that. Like, people who they should be criticized. But I have never ever seen people talk about getting like death threats from Hassan's audience. I've never seen people get like rape threats from Hassan's audience. You know what's weird? I have seen that from people in Leafy's audience and Keemstar's audience. I've seen that a lot, you know? And it's like, that's the key factor, right? There is criticizing and then there is like making someone else feel unsafe. That's just not, that's like too far, right?
In them. Like, his catchphrase was 2 slurs strung together, right? Like, that's not exactly something to be super proud of. I get that. But to go back and say, like, all of it's shit, all of it's, you know, bad and cruel, I think is going way overboard, because it's not. I don't think any of it was cruel. I don't think the criticism was unwarranted. But it's fine to just regret the way you handled it to a certain extent without saying all the content was damaging or cruel or bad.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was
Me when I say slurs, that's not that cruel.
making content cop videos on.
Me when I get other people that I don't like harassed and doxxed.
And I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes. And, you know, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not.
I feel like there's a chance he may have been hit by a Men in Black neuralizer and had his memories rewritten of what that content actually was, because I never got the impression from those videos that he was morally grandstanding or that he was trying to pitch himself as superior to them morally. He never really tried to make himself seem like he was better than them. In fact, he would multiple times point out, like, his problems as well, and even give them advice on how they could have attacked him better in response, giving them ammo if they wanted to use against him. It all seemed very self-aware, not from like a moral grandstanding perspective, but just you were lending criticism in a goofy way to entertain your audience as well as provide legitimate points for why these people are doing bad things or have done bad things. For example,
Why? Why? This is such a weird video to make. Oh, this is so weird. This is so weird. I'm just so confused why he made this video. This guy has a mullet. He's aight with me. Too few creators take responsibility for their followings. To be very clear, there's always going to be people in any following that are just going to be weirdos. It's going to happen no matter what. It's just the way that the internet is, right? Like, I'm sure that there are even people in my community right now, like a handful of people that are not okay, that maybe have engaged in questionable behavior, right? Like sending harassment to other people, right? But to say that a content creator has no responsibility over their audience, to say that a content creator is like they're free of all guilt if their audience does something, it's stupid. It's so silly. It's so silly. You know? I think what matters is like the percentage. It's kind of like, you know what to compare it to? It's kind of like populations that are incarcerated. Other countries do not have the rate of incarceration that we do. Yes, crime will basically always exist, or at least as we know society now, crime will always exist. There will always be people who are committing crimes. And there will always be a prison system for people who break the rules, right? Why the fuck does America have like more people incarcerated per capita than like the next 10 countries combined? Something is wrong. Our rates should be similar to other countries. Why is it so much worse? And obviously the secret is capitalism and racism. That's, I think, the key factor. There's always going to be people in communities that are weird and that like think it's okay to harass other people or think it's okay to like be insane, I guess, for a lack of better words. But some communities have a way bigger chunk of their audience that is insane than other communities. And I think that like the difference between whatever is acceptable amount or whatever is like unavoidable amount and like whatever amount, that sentence is so fucked. You guys get what I'm trying to say.
Example, making a content comp on Leafy and bullying him the same way he'd bully the people in his videos, right? Like, that's not exactly the most cruel thing in the world. It's just making a point and making that point entertaining to your audience.
I am very insecure.
Okay, and I forgot who said it, but to the person who said that iDubbbz is making this video out of like almost refusal to look inward, you're totally correct. Like, because Charlie himself has been irresponsible with this platform. Sorry, did I say iDubbbz? I meant Charlie. I'm so sorry. Charlie himself is being, he has been very irresponsible. He has made videos on people, and he's like made fun of them. And those people have received harassment for years after. Charlie has been very irresponsible with his platform plenty of times. And I think a big part of why he doesn't want to give credit to Ian is because he knows it means he has to look inward. Which is really sad. Because I think Charlie's made good content. I think Charlie going after Sneeko was good content. I think Sneeko was someone who deserved it. I think he made Sneeko look like an idiot. That was great. He's also gone after people who didn't deserve it. I've seen him go after content creators with like no viewers. I've seen him go after like random YouTubers or streamers or whatever. They have no views. They have no like subscribers or anything, like small channels. And they're just kind of doing their own little thing in their own little corner. And then like, it's just an unbelievable amount of harassment that just like, they didn't deserve it. Like they didn't deserve to be treated that way. You know, it's monetization. Yeah, of course. Like, to be clear, I think it's totally acceptable to punch up. Okay? I think if someone like Matt Walsh deserves like any amount of like harassment he receives, he deserved it. The same way America deserved 9/11. You don't get to be a piece of shit and be a transphobic garbage human being and then expect no one to be mad at you. That's like you did that yourself. You know what I mean? But like punching down on like a tiny channel and the tiny channel, like they just had like a lukewarm take. It's like, dude, come on. No way you said that. What did I say? I forgot what I said. Oh, America. Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong, okay? Listen, chat. Twitch didn't even ban him for that take, which means they're not allowed to ban me for that take. Twitch banned him for saying the eye hole thing, okay? And I'm good, because I'm not going to say that. I am not brave enough to say that, okay? Are you going to watch Charlie's new video on his response? Yeah. I will.
About my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. And it's one of the reasons why I, kept making this hurtful content. You do interpret that as an excuse, but I hope that that is relatable to other creators who maybe struggle with the same thing.
Now, this subject right here is something that extends beyond the iDubbbz situation. It's the insecurity, especially with a creator who's found a lot of success with one branch of content, that fearfulness to try other things because you don't know how to be perceived and you're a little worried about your ability to even deliver something that's not the norm that your audience is used to. That's a very honest look into that mentality, and you see it all the time on the platform with people that have found success in one niche and they never leave it. And that's because there's always that fear that if you do, you'll lose your audience or you'll just not be good at it. So most people live in the exact same style of content forever. And that's how I was for like the first 8 or 9 years of this channel, doing nothing but gameplay and commentary videos, spouting the word nipple and titty and cum as much as I possibly could within the first 2 minutes and throughout the rest of the video. But eventually, you do take a risk and you try other things, and I always think that's the most fulfilling thing a creator can do, which is branch out from their niche. At least to try it, dip your toes in the deep end of that pool and give it a whirl.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos, and I justified it.
No, Charlie's a dummy. That's not, I don't believe that that's what's being said. Oh no. Before we, wait, before we get anywhere else, hold up, chat, there's someone in chat, Pepe La.
It because, I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions, but that's so silly, Casual racism is still racism. Casual bigotry is still bigotry. And, I said a lot of things that I look back at and I cringe now, and I'm like, that is an awful thing to say.
This I completely understand. That is totally normal to look back on that and cringe, right? In your 30s and really any age over 16, you're not exactly going to be getting a hearty ho 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 belly laugh just hearing a bunch of slurs being spammed. Real life.
Oh, dude, I feel like Charlie's a little lost in this video.
Life isn't Call of Duty lobbies. I don't think many people in the real world are going to be like laughing and fist pumping hearing you just shout slurs as comedy. So that makes sense to look back on that and cringe. However, none of your videos came from a place of hate. At least I don't think so. I don't think you were ever a racist or...
It feels like Charlie just didn't watch the same video that I watched. The place it came from didn't matter. Ian literally just said, in the clip you just showed, he said, casual bigotry is still bigotry. Casual racism is still racism. He just played the clip. He just played it. It doesn't matter if Ian was ever racist. I don't think Ian was ever racist. I don't think at any point Ian unironically believed in any race realism shit. I don't think that Ian was ever yes, I think women shouldn't have voting rights, and I think minorities are ruining our country. I don't think Ian thought that ever in his life. It doesn't matter though. What matters is that he contributed to a landscape that made the internet more bigoted. And doing that is bad. Where your heart lies or whatever doesn't matter when you're impacting hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people to be complete pieces of garbage. And it's weird. It really does feel like Charlie watched a different video, because Ian even talks about it. He says one of the things that was a very big eye opener for him was he was at a convention and a fan walked up and said I know you don't like trans people, but can I get a picture? And he took a step back and he's like, Why would you think that? Oh my God. Jesus. No, I don't. No. It doesn't matter if he was ever bigoted because people thought that he was. Like Schrodinger's douchebag is a thing and you have to be aware of it, you know? Also, like, I feel like this is a very, like, basic concept as well. Like, chat, have you guys ever accidentally eaten someone else's food? And maybe you didn't think it was theirs, or maybe you didn't think it was a big deal, or like you were really hungry. Like you just like, your intention was not to hurt the other person. And then the other person is like, dude, I was saving that. I was saving that all day. Are you fucking kidding me? And you're like, you were? And it's like, yeah, I was. I was saving that for literally today. I got it yesterday so I could enjoy it today. Oh, you would still apologize. It doesn't matter what your intent. Your intention wasn't, I'm going to rob this person of joy later. Your intention was, oh man, I could really go for like a glass of orange juice right now. And you drank the rest of the orange juice. You know, you would always apologize, even if you accidentally did something, even if your intention wasn't harmful, you know, and you just said like, you would still be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you cared that much. I'm sorry. I thought it was fine. Do you want me to go to the store and get you some more orange juice? I didn't know you were looking forward to that. I'm so sorry. You only share your intention as a way to explain what you are changing. Exactly. So like, yeah, maybe Ian's intention wasn't to harbor like a weirdly bigoted audience, you know? But it doesn't change the fact that he did do that and he should apologize for having harbored that audience and be like, hey. And also, one other thing, this actually hasn't been brought up at all, but I think it's a very important point. I don't think people will ever feel comfortable in your community, like minorities or people that were victims of like harassment, will ever feel comfortable around you or your community unless you own up to what you did. Like in the orange juice example, this person is upset that you drank their orange juice. They were looking forward to it. If you don't apologize, they're just going to be like, okay, so like, what? You don't, am I just going to expect you to drink my orange juice in the future? Am I just going to expect you to just take whatever's yours whenever you want? By apologizing, you're addressing like what you did wrong, that you're going to try not to do it again. And you're telling everyone who, in the case of Ian, everyone who's still in his community, who's like holding on to hope that like Ian is still an edgelord, he's basically telling them, I do not claim you. Get the fuck out of my audience. If you are still, for some reason, still in my audience, please don't be. You know? But anyways, Turbo has my back. Yeah, I'm getting Turbo this month. I'm getting it. I hate ads. So moving on.
Or a bigot or anything like that. You used those words for shock humor. That was the whole goal, the edgy shock humor of using those words. And you made it pretty clear that that was kind of your drive. And he does mention it in this video with the it's either all okay or none of it's okay mentality. But I really think most people were able to recognize that the things he was saying weren't coming from a place of legitimate hate. Now, you can of course still say that it's unacceptable that he was using slurs for shock humor and punchlines in his videos for the jokes. That's a totally fair perspective to have. But it's still, I think, a little ridiculous to make it seem like it was this big of a deal that it warranted a whole apology video in which he makes it seem like he'll never truly find forgiveness and he'll never forgive himself for it, for saying the slurs in the videos and making the content he did. Because again, like he's talking about it like he's a fucking reformed racist, like he was actually a racist and now he's not, when I don't think that was the case. He was an edgelord, and that's it. I feel like this whole video could have just been summed up very easily like, hey guys, it was fucking 2016. I was edgy, and now I think it's cringy, so I don't want to do that anymore, and we're closing the book. That, you know, we're shutting that chapter down, putting the kibosh on it. now we're doing some other stuff.
Oh my God. Your dress looks so comfy. It actually is. It's very comfortable. I love this dress. What is going on, dude? Do you endorse terrorism on Americans? ? I am an expert on American foreign policy. Do not even try to talk policy with me. Damn, okay, I won't. Chill. Ask the Ukrainian rebels who I am. They'll know. I'm a East Coast liberal dumb fuck. Did you forget to take your normal pills this morning, bro? Go take them. Go. I'll wait right here, man. Go take them. Okay. Why are you in my chat insulting yourself? I've never seen this before. Usually people come in here and insult me. Like most people. Like most of the people in here usually do that. I don't think I've ever seen someone come into chat and then insult themselves over and over again. I am bitch. I am East Coast liberal dumb fuck. You definitely are an East Coast liberal dumb fuck. You definitely are. But seriously, go take your normal pills, okay? Go take them. What is going on? Ah! Ah! Okay, can I say something, chat? I don't care if people can spell right or not, okay? It doesn't matter to me. The English language is one of the most bullshit languages on the planet, okay? It's inevitable that you will misspell stuff. However, you aren't allowed to call other people illiterate when you're using the wrong your. You just aren't allowed to, okay? You just aren't allowed to do it. I don't care when people use the wrong your or the wrong there, but you just can't do that. Okay? It makes you look really, really, really moronic, okay? Right. But good luck, man.
And that would have been a totally fine explanation. A lot of people would have still would have been disappointed, of course, in his audience that liked that content. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't feel like a prisoner to your audience. You should make what makes you happiest to create. Like, I don't think you should have felt obligated to make this.
You should make what makes you happiest to make. Me when I make a pipe bomb.
This video. Like, I don't think this situation was so damaging that it warranted this kind of, like, fucking presidential press conference here over it and apologizing for the content you made back then. You know, I don't think like you ruined lives because you made content cop. I don't think you made an entire generation of racists and bigots because you use slurs for shock humor. I think that's a very bastardized perspective of how people digest content online. Now, I have no doubt that his audience did cultivate some weirdo losers that probably were real racists somewhere in there that didn't really care about his message and just liked that he was saying the N-word. I have no doubt that that existed in his community. But I don't think that was his goal, and there's always going to be weirdo losers. Of course, you can do your best to mitigate those people from feeling welcome in your community, but that all starts with just changing the content over time. Again, that's not a weak thing to do. That is not...
There's so many of these pictures, by the way. There's so many of these. Miku, stop it! Miku, no.
Not a weak or passive approach. The vilifying of your own audience and your previous content, I don't think is the right way of even looking at the content you used to make or the audience that you had. Of course, there were bad actors in there, but not everyone was. And to make them feel like they were if they liked your content is a little weird. And I don't think that's the goal of this video by any means, but it does come across that way. Like, you weren't a bad person if you were laughing at his content cops or anything like that. And I don't think he was a bad person for making those content cops in the first place.
I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable.
You don't deserve to be fucking publicly flogged with tomatoes thrown at you for the rest of your life and skinned alive because you made edgy videos in 2016, man.
Oh my god. He's so close to getting it. It's so close. Oh. Oh, Charlie, please. You're not this dumb, Charlie. Come on. Have you been drinking the Florida water again? We told you to stay away from that stuff. We told you. When it comes out brown, you know it's bad, man. Come on, Charlie. For anyone who missed it, by the way, all right? For anyone who didn't get to hear this part, let's go back.
A life that I would think would be like acceptable.
You don't deserve to be fucking public.
This seems very personal to him. I think he's rationalizing it out of guilt. Yes. So, Ian basically says, you know, I made these mistakes and I don't think it's fair for me to just come back and pretend like none of it ever happened. And I want to apologize and I want people to know, you know,
Moon to walk.
I own up to it. I own up to what I did wrong. And if you forgive me, I appreciate it. I don't even know if I necessarily deserve it, but if you don't, I understand. Charlie responds with, you don't deserve to be publicly flogged for the rest of your life because you made an edgy video. Meanwhile, both Charlie and Ian have caused endless harassment to the people they've made videos on. Some of which didn't deserve that. Some of those people don't deserve to be humiliated for the rest of their life and get death threats for the rest of their life because you didn't think they were funny. You know? Any walkers in chat? Captain Walrus, thank you so much for the 14 months. Ian admitted he didn't do anything to stop the bigotry, hate, and harassment. Yeah. Charlie knows he's wrong. That's why he's using so much hyperbole, like skinned alive. Yeah. Tana was a kid, man. She was like 19. She had a full-ass adult calling her slurs. I mean, like, I'm not going to defend Tana, and I'm not going to say anything about or against Tana. I didn't follow that content really that well. I know that she was being racist or something, and so he said slurs to her to, like, make a content offer or whatever. But, like, that's Ian's whole point is you should be able to make videos criticizing people that don't lead to, like, harassment of that person for the rest of their lives. Like, people should be given the opportunity to grow and change, not be harassed forever. Sorry, Ace and Pink. And then to like completely miss the point and then say, but you don't deserve to be harassed because you made bad content for the rest of your life. It's like, you're so close to getting it, Charlie. You're so close. Fuck.
Flogged with tomatoes thrown at you for the rest of your life and skinned alive because you made edgy videos in 2016, man. It's just not that big of a deal. It feels horrible hearing this from him, knowing that it weighs so heavily on his mind that he made these videos, so he feels like he's a real piece of shit for doing it. You just made
Carl, thank you for the 9 months. Thank you.
Edgy YouTube videos. You didn't ruin anybody's life. You didn't create.
If she was a dude, you wouldn't be calling her a 19-year-old kid. I don't like you.
I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video, I'm going to match and donate to an organization that, you know, would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel. And again, this isn't the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start.
You'll get no complaints from me here. I'm always on the side of helping people, so anything charitable, I'm always for. though I don't think it was necessary or anything. I still think that's a nice gesture regardless. But he uses the word rhetoric here. And that again makes it sound like these videos were coming from like a legitimate racist, which I don't think they were. I really don't. At least I don't want to believe that iDubbbz used to be a racist and he was using that to try and, propel his beliefs forward. He really it seems like he was really just using these words as shock humor, which is cringy, sure, very cringy, and that is absolutely fine to point out. But it doesn't strike me as something that was genuinely ruining people's lives hearing that kind of shit. It's just kind of like an eye-rolling thing to look back on now, like, ugh, that's fucking lame. And that's really it. I just don't think it goes too much deeper than that. Like I said, I have no doubt there really were some dangerous weirdos that did hold dangerous beliefs in his community. But I don't think he made them. I think they were there when they found his content to begin with, and they stuck around because
very
they just...
kawaii.
Kawaii. Real Despo, thank you so much for the 3 months.
Just liked hearing the edgy words spoken out loud. That's it. I don't think he made them. He wasn't the Frankenstein to their monster. Now, I don't want to just keep dissecting every single piece of the video here. I want to kind of branch this out into a broader talking point about when a creator starts to resent the audience and community they've fostered. Because that's fundamentally what's happened here. iDubbbz has grown up now. He doesn't like what he made when he was younger, and he doesn't like the audience that he made along the way, along the journey. He mentions a couple of times in the videos, like, some of these eureka moments where he's like, man, this is really fucking frustrating, the people that are in my audience. Well, he doesn't blatantly say that, but he tells a couple anecdotes about, going to conventions and meeting fans and it being kind of like this mirror held up to him that he didn't like the reflection of. And that's a very interesting and unfortunately pretty common thing to have happen online, where someone spends a long time building their brand and building their audience. And as they grow, they start to really resent the audience that they have. And usually this comes in one of two forms, where you have someone like Darkside Phil. I've used him as an example before, but he has an audience that he doesn't seem to really like, but he needs them because they pay his bills. So he has to constantly keep doing the same things in order to keep the lights on. And I imagine he feels trapped by his viewers because he has to keep doing this song and dance in order to get the money from them, but doesn't like what he's doing. And it also happens to other creators as well, who spend a long time building their identity online, but they don't like what they're doing and they don't like the people that are watching them. So then they try and make some kind of change and then get eaten alive by their community, which only further reinforces their disdain for them, which leads to a really toxic community where everyone's at each other's throats. There's countless examples of that. Point is, that experience online is all too common. And when it does happen, a creator's left with a choice. They either...
I don't know this dark side... Uh-oh. People also search for Dark Side Phil caught, Dark Side Phil wife, age, controversy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Do I want to know? Oh, no. 12 years ago. Is this the right guy? Oh, he's a Kiwi Farms lolcow. I don't want to know. 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 Never mind. But look at my cat. Ooh, who's a little meerkat? You got something on your nose, little guy. He's being a good little worm.
Just suck it up and keep...
What was the name of the Lucio main that went viral? You're thinking of DSP Stanky.
making the shit that they clap for.
Yeah, sorry, last pause. I just don't. The Kiwi Farm stuff never makes me feel better after I learn about it. So I just don't, you know? It's similar to the Logan. You know what, chat? I was telling people the other day. I've actually never looked at like the Logan Paul, the Japanese forest thing. I don't want to know. I know that it's bad. I think he like went somewhere and recorded like a suicide or something. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I know it's not good. It's like I've had people like email me or like DM me like, "Oh, here's the full playlist to everything Chris Chan related." And it's like, first of all, what makes you think I want to spend like the next 12 hours listening to this depressing shit? Second of all, I'm good. I don't want to know. Besides the fact that it would take me forever to get through, I just don't want to know. All I know what I need to know. Okay? Which is they found someone vulnerable who they could farm for laughs, and they did it over and over and over again until they sent someone into pure like mental instability. The world is depressing enough. I don't need to know about people who make it worse. You know? I don't want to. And it's the same thing with like any of like the Kiwi Farms lol cows. It's like it's never good. It's never good, you know? Ever. All forms of writing CC's names are banned in my chat. Very smart. Very fucking smart. I'm good, you know?